Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be going over my current main deck that I am maining in the current meta in Vanguard. This is a super good deck in my opinion. Thorn, Dragon Tamer, Lucario finally back, finally in standard, in all the glory. There's only a couple of cards that I'm annoyed aren't here, mainly, well, I'm not understanding why the Thorn heal trigger isn't in the game yet, but that, whatever, that just gives them a reason to print it later. But let's get right into the deck. It's a very fun deck. It's a very good deck. People who have played against it, I beat them and they're like, some of these cards feel like they're broken, particularly a certain grade 3. But we're going to run it right now. For Thorn, Dragon Tamer, the Queen, the best. Lucario, she is here with her Vanguard and Rearguard effect that allows her, if you call 2 or more cards from Soul, this turn she gets plus 10,000, so that's her continuous skill. I'm so glad that it's Vanguard and Rearguard, because sometimes you'll call her out and then she'll get the skill as well, so as a Rearguard. But her activate effect is Counterblast 2, discard a card from your hand, and you basically call any number of Silver Thorns from your Soul. And if you've got, and all your front row Rearguards get 3,000 till the end of the turn. That's, I mean, like, people are like, well, some people were saying, well, that cost is too expensive. You could potentially plus, like, the whole field, basically, for just Counterblast 2 and 1 card. So, very fair effect. We do have ways to mitigate the Counterblast cost. We'll go into that later. But definitely, this is the main Vanguard. And here's the backup Vanguard that a lot of people hate seeing when they play against this deck. But Dorian is amazing. Dorian allows you to just plus so much, it's ridiculous, and I feel like if you ride this early, you basically hide everything from your opponent. If you're up against like Kagero or something, then it just annoys them, it just trolls them, and then you can even do her effect as Rearguard. She'll retire herself at the end, but you'll still hide all your Rearguards and like draw a bunch of cards. So very good. I'm very satisfied with the Silver Thorns right now, the way that they stack up with the current meta. Next, the return of another old school card, Silver Thorn Marionette Lillian. She used to be the 10k vanilla for Silver Thorns back in Binding Force of the Black Rings, the set that Nebula Dragon, Link Joker debuted in. So, she's really good. I think that was also the set that Raging Form Dragon came out in, if I remember. And the reverse one was in there. But anyway, Lillian's back. The thing I love about this deck is like so many of the Rearguards just gain plus 10,000. So like this thing, when it attacks, if your Soul has 4 or more cards with Silver Thorn with different names in the Soul, she gets 10,000 power. So not only does the Vanguard get 10,000, this can get 10,000, and then there's another card that gets 10,000. We're running this guy, Silver Thorn Rising Dragon. I kind of think of him as the lion that Silver Thorns used to have. Basically, if you called, he has the same effect as Lucario's first effect, but it only works on Rearguard, which is fine because this is only ever going to be a Rearguard when you really want to see him on the field. But basically, you call 2 or more, he gets 10,000 power. So really good. So lots of high power numbers in this clan compared to the like Golden Beast Tamer of the more contemporary Pale Moon decks out there. Next, I'm running 3 Dancing Knife Dancer because I feel like Dancing Knife Dancer is essential to mitigate her high Counterblast 2 cost. Now, there is another Silver Thorn Grade 2 that came out. It's a Guardian Circle effect as well, which is good because it's Silver Thorn, so it adds the consistency of it being another Silver Thorn. But oftentimes, I don't really see myself needing that card that much, so I prefer Dancing Knife Dancer. You could drop this to 2 and run 1 of the Silver Thorn card, the Grade 2, if you wanted, and I think it would be fine, but it may even add to consistency, but I just want to not have to ever have issues where I won't have enough Counterblast on my next turn. So if I go to Counterblast 0, at the end of the turn I've got one of this guy, I will put him into the Soul to unflip 1, so I'll have at least 1 Counterblast, and if I take a damage or something, then I will have my 2 Counterblasts for the next turn. So that's the reason why we run that Dancing Knife Dancer. For grade 1s, running 2 of the grade 1 Sentinel. Just like in my Golden Beast Tamer deck, we're running the same trigger lineup. So that's 2, well, you'll see it, but 2 Ethel because she has a Vanguard effect compared to the Monkey. So we definitely run her. She's not a Silverthorn though, which is kind of annoying. I wish they would have printed a Silverthorn Sentinel grade 1 instead, but they did not. Next, Irina. She's always been a very decent card for Silverthorn since she debuted in Binding Force of Black Rings, along with Lillian and Ionella and all those guys, and this guy. But they changed her up, and I don't really... They're trying to prevent power creep with the way they make these cards work, where she only does her skill, her search skill, now in different ways. So when she's placed from hand on the rearguard circle, so not Vanguard but rearguard, you can look at 2 from the top of the deck, put 1 into Soul, and put the other on the bottom of the deck. Nice thing about that is it doesn't have to be Silverthorn when you do that. So you could get Dancing Knife Dancer and put him into the Soul, and it won't be a problem. So I do like that about her first effect. But then her other effect is, if you open up with her, you ride her as Vanguard on the first turn. On the next turn, when you ride grade 2, so when she's rode upon, look at 3 cards, and then put any number of Silverthorn in the Soul, and then put the rest on the bottom of the deck. And if you've put 2 or more, you get to draw a card. So that's a newer effect, but it does restrict you to putting only Silverthorns. So that's why if someone wanted to really be a purist, then they wouldn't run Knife Dancer, and they would just run the Silverthorn grade 2 instead. But most of the time, you won't always open up with her as the first ride, so that's why it's not a big deal. And you know, her other effect is restricted to playing from hand, so there's a little bit of consistency in my opinion. But I am running this thing, so if I open up with this or her, I know that I will have at least either a ditch and draw effect, or I'll get that Silverthorn into the Soul search effect. So yeah, so that's those 2, and then we're running Silverthorn Breathing Dragon. So Breathing Dragon now, he used to be the 10k attacker for Silverthorns as a grade 1. Now, at the end of the battle that he boosts, if your soul has 4 or more Silverthorns with different names, you can counterblast 1 and put a rearguard with Silverthorn, put 1 rearguard with Silverthorn in its card name that this unit boosts. So basically the card that he boosts goes into the Soul, and you call a card with Silverthorn to R from the Soul. So let's say he boosts this guy or something, right? He boosts this guy, then this guy will go in the Soul, and you call something else out. So you'll call, like, maybe Lillian or whatever, just some other card. So that's basically how he works now. Kind of like Anna, but not exactly. And then we are running 4 Silverthorn Conjure Rami. So she is the one that has the rearguard rest ability. So when you rest her and put her into the Soul, you can look at 3 and put any number of Silverthorn into the Soul and put the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. So kind of a strange effect where you have to rest her and then put her into the Soul. So not bad, because it doesn't rely on counterblast. So I like that allows it to mesh well with Lucia without having to conflict with the resource management. So I do like that about it. So it's good at fueling the Soul early, and the fact that she goes into the Soul can potentially also be a good thing, because then she can't get retired, and it's better for her to be in the Soul than in the drop zone, in my opinion. That's just how Pale Moon is meant to be played. So for the trigger lineup, just like before, we are running 2 of the draw, so we've got 4 Sentinels, so just 2 draw triggers. Then we've got the, what is this, 6 critical? Yeah, so I'm running, 6 critical. So I'm running 4 Silverthorn critical. You've got to run 4 Silverthorn critical. And then the other 2, I'm just running 1 of each of the jugglers, so Dynamite and Poison. That's 6 critical. But definitely Barking Dragon is a must at 4 for max consistency. And then for the fronts, you run the Silverthorn front trigger. So Sergey, he used to be a stand trigger, now he's a front trigger. So you got 2 draw, 4 stand, 6 critical, same as my Golden Beast Tamer deck, and then 4 heal. One thing I'm gonna note about, why is Candy Clown reprinted instead of Nadia? Nadia was the Silverthorn heal. I don't understand why they didn't print that, but anyway, it is what it is. And we do have Silverthorn Assistant Ionella, which was the original Silverthorn starter that allowed you to basically do Irena's effect, when the attack that she boosted hits, you would look at, I think, 2 or 3, and then put 1 Silver Thorn into the soul and put the other on the bottom of the deck. But now she's just a plain, boring starter in Standard. But yeah, so that's the deck, guys. Let me know what you think of Silver Thorns. I think they're amazing right now. They're very fun. I like playing them and Brufus. Those are my 2 favorite decks right now. There's a couple others like Shadows and Magus and different variants of OTT and stuff. But let me know what you guys think of the deck, and I'll catch you guys next video. Thanks.